So now we're going to do a new diagram. I will call it the diagram 3, third diagram, saying picture the universe, the biggest of all the systems. We can call it the macrocosmos. And in that macrocosmos, 99% of the universe is space. So the biggest system of all is the universe, right? The universe is the biggest of all systems. Inside that universe, we can have again the planet Earth, us sitting in the planet wondering, what is this? Where are we? Yeah, where do we come from? This is our body-mind system, right? So there is a macro system that is the universe, and there is a micro system that is the body-mind system, right? So I'm going to compare the big macrocosmos with the microcosmos. So we said that the space outside of us, we call it universe. It is full of energy. We could think of the universe made up of trillions of galaxies, each galaxy made out of billions of stars, and each star being in that space, interacting with each other through gravity, galaxies interacting with each other through gravity. So that space has all these energy interactions of forces of attraction between galaxies. There is also a force that is pulling the universe apart. Force or energy, dark energy pulling the universe apart. So what we call space is not empty space. It's a very dynamic space that it's full of energy. Inside our body-mind system, we could think of the nervous system as the space inside of us. Again, our brain made out of trillions of neurons separated from each other through space, and that connected to the spinal cord and the whole nervous system, the vagus nerve going down the body, connecting every organ in the body, and all these billions of cells, neurons, making the body-mind system work. So the biggest system of all, the space or the universe inside our body, is called the nervous system. Our universe is in our mind. It makes sense to connect the macrocosmos with the microcosmos through the nervous system. And then if we look at the layer of air around our body, so let's say the atmosphere as a system. The atmosphere as a system has many gases, but mainly 70% of the atmosphere is nitrogen. So I'm going to put here the molecule of nitrogen as one of the gases that make the atmosphere. And this nitrogen is also cyclic in nature. It goes into the earth, into the air, into our body-mind system. It cycles in nature. Of course, pushed by the solar energy, like every cycle in nature is pushed by the solar energy. But these molecules become proteins. Nitrogen goes into our body, it becomes part of our brain, it becomes part of our body. It goes into the earth, it nourishes plants, it becomes fruits. It's a very important cycle of nature. So I'm going to call here the nitrogen cycle as one of the cycles that we can associate with the air element, right? And then, of course, probably the essential or most important cycle of nature has to do with the sun. So the sun provides energy to the earth, photons, energy, light, electromagnetic radiation, that a plant, for example a leaf on a tree, takes that energy. Suppose that this is a tree. So part of this light, a very tiny fraction of that light, is absorbed by the leaf, and together with the water that's coming from the earth, the water molecules, and the carbon dioxide that is coming from the air, the plant is transforming this solar energy into matter. For instance, if it's an apple tree, it produces 80% of the mass of the tree is coming from the air. These molecules of carbon and oxygen, together with the hydrogen in the water, produce the glucose and the apples that we eat. So an apple is basically solar energy trapped by the process of photosynthesis. Very important process. Photosynthesis is a cycle of nature. Photosynthesis. Or maybe photo with PH. Photosynthesis is a cycle of nature, of course, associated with the solar energy. Important, essential cycle for us to be here. If these plants would not exist, we wouldn't exist, because in the process of producing glucose, in the process of producing starch and matter, the oxygen is liberated. The oxygen that we breathe is liberated. So the side product of photosynthesis is oxygen, and that oxygen goes into our respiratory system. Our respiratory system is, of course, the system inside our body that connects us to the atmosphere. So the nitrogen cycle outside our body and the oxygen coming from photosynthesis is the input to what we breathe, the air in the atmosphere. The system inside our body that is associated with the sun element is our digestive system. I'm going to put here the stomach, the intestines, elimination. Digestive system and elimination are associated with solar energy or sun. Respiratory system associated with the air element. Respiratory system associated with the air element. And the circulatory system, of course, naturally, is associated with the water element. So if we have here water, I'm going to put it in red, which is not a good color for water, but if this is the water, there is a big cycle in nature also pumped by solar energy that makes the water evaporate, produces the clouds, and then the clouds produce rain, and the rain comes down to the earth. It filters the earth. We drink that water, and it becomes our body. Remember that 60 to 70% of the body is made of water. So the water system, or the water cycle outside our body, one of the cycles of nature, one of the important cycles of nature, it is connected to the circulatory system inside our bodies. So this mess is trying to explain basically the connections, how our body-mind system, the microcosmos that we are inside, is connected to the biggest macrocosmos that is happening outside of us, and how we are part of those bigger cycles. So there is a matrix to complete where you have to associate the cycles in nature with the systems inside our body. And finally, if we look at the Earth is what provides structure to the Earth is the structure of the planet. We could find an important cycle that is connected to the Earth, the carbon cycle. The carbon cycle is the transformation or the motion of the atoms of carbon from organic matter that decomposes, becomes petrol, gas, into air. Carbon dioxide, for instance, has these carbon atoms. So there is a cycle in nature that is pushing these atoms from the earth to the air and back to the earth, also pumped by solar energy. And the structure, what provides structure to our own body-mind system is the bones, the skeleton, the muscles. So I think that it's appropriate to connect the earth element to the system that give structure to the body, because that is what connects us to the earth, right? So bones, skeleton, and muscular system that connect to the earth element. Respiratory system connect to the air element. Circulatory system connect to the water element. And nervous systems connect to space. Digestive system and reproduction connects to sun. 5 elements of nature, 5 important cycles in nature, and 5 systems that make our body mind.